Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? Yeah, hey, thank you for choosing our session right after the keynote. This is a super busy slot. I see a lot of bright-eyed faces, which is, I hope, the result of a really positive experience in the keynote. What did you think of the keynote? Was good? Was good? What was your favorite? At the end, the malaria. Man, I love the malaria story. That is a great story. Anybody else? Natural language. Natural language is a big one. This is, what we're trying to do as an industry is make things much more accessible, easier for people to get access to. So before we kick off the session, I'd like to just take a moment to recognize that last week there was an important event in our industry that took place. I was very saddened to hear about the loss of Paul Allen, original founder of Microsoft alongside Bill Gates. And Paul did a lot to impact my life personally. So I wanted to just invite you for just 10 seconds of silence to consider what impact Paul may have had on your life and ours as a data community. Okay, thank you. So welcome. Did you guys have, who was the artist playing when they came in? Journey. Journey, welcome to your journey to amazing mobile dashboards. I hope you're ready to get started with us today. I'm excited to be here with you. My name is Zach Woodall. I lead product management for new mobile and collaboration features in Tableau's server. And with me is Eric Teusch.
Hi, I'm Eric, and my job is to help customers along their journey to seeing and understanding their data. And I couldn't be more excited to be up here to talk about mobile today.
It's always fun to be on the stage. It's always fun to talk with data people. I always like to know a little bit about who it is that I'm speaking with when I come to a session. So we prepared this slide, Eric and I. Mine is on the left. This is a picture of a journey that I took a couple of days ago, running up the Esplanade to City Park, at which I found, I don't know if you can see here, this woman down here at this, I'm not sure what the platform is called. She is playing the French horn out in the public in this park, and it was the most beautiful thing. The light was filtering through these trees, and what a wonderful moment. And I think life is just filled with these journeys. For me personally, before coming to speak with you today, I developed a passion for creating great mobile experiences during my time working at Microsoft, which I was at for 16 years. And I used to lead the App Store at Microsoft. And I spent a lot of time working with developers and kind of understanding the challenges and pain that they faced as they came to mobile experiences, mobile devices, from their history building desktop software. Since I've been at Tableau, I've seen there are a lot of those patterns kind of repeating. People have a lot of the same challenges.
Yeah, and I too actually took a journey. Up on the right here is a photograph that I took from Costa Rica where my wife and I took our kids for an extended vacation back in August. And the funny thing is, I bought an expensive camera to take with me. And you know what I used to take all the pictures, including this one? My iPhone.
Oh, yeah.
And that just shows sort of the ubiquity of this. Now, personally, I am a lifelong data geek, self-chosen. Full disclosure, my degree is actually in English. But I worked for my first database company back in 1985. So been around for a while. And I love this move into not only being able to see and understand amazing things with data, but actually to be able to start to take it with you.
So fair warning, we have a lot of content today. We are going to try and keep it on time. So we may be moving a little bit fast. If we do, please go ahead and call us to rein in. You guys are moving a little bit too fast. Here was a fun statistic that I found in the Daily Mail. They've done a couple of these different surveys to try and figure out, how much do people use phones? What do they use them for? If you had to say, what do you think people use their phone for the most? What would you say? Social media, communications, yeah. Texting, right, yeah. What's a thing, like a verb, that these all have in common? What do you need to do in order to know what the state is of your social media? You got to check it. This is what people are doing. They're checking their phone. Look at this, 110 times a day. That's incredible. Every 6 seconds in the evening. What I thought was really interesting about that particular fact is these are people at home in the evening. If they were doing this for their data, for their work, what would that mean in the context of mobile? When would they be doing that? So one thing that I think is emerging, something that we could probably see now that we couldn't see just a couple of years ago, is that mobile is going to be critically useful and important in the context of understanding your data at work. But in order to get there, it has to be available when people need it in their journey, in their existing workflow. So today, we're going to take a journey in 3 steps. In our first step, we're going to see how we can just quickly produce really useful little mobile dashboards that work effectively. How many people have made a mobile dashboard in Tableau? Okay, wow. That looks like about half the room, I would say.
That's good.
Yeah, that's really great. What are some of the things that make that hard? Layout. Layout makes it hard. What else? Anybody? It doesn't scale well across devices. Yeah. Anybody else? Lag time for interaction. Is that what you're talking about? Yes. Yeah, good one. Watch Devs on Stage tomorrow. So we're going to go through some design techniques that will help you to up-level your ability to design for mobile. And we are going to talk about some best practices for really making the most use of mobile in your organization. As a first step, we're going scenario-based. This is my boss. She always wears those glasses. And she said to me she needs data. Oh, snap! My boss needs data on her phone like meow. So what's an approach we could take to delivering data on a mobile phone? One that you may be familiar with is this idea of reductionism. Does anybody know what this is? No? Nobody. Oh, that's great. I love that I get to talk to you about this. Reductionism is an old concept. It's been around for a very long time, but it's the idea that any complex system can be reduced down to a series of automata that describe the system. So on the right here, we have a picture of a duck drawn reductionistly as a series of automaton. So there are the things that it takes in, there are the things that it puts out. How would you simplify the system? You can imagine using the same approach to dashboard design. So if I take my dashboard and then I think deeply about what it is people are going to do with this thing on their desktop, do you think it's likely that they will need the same exact set of capabilities on their phone? Who thinks it is? I don't think it is. I find that on my phone, I much prefer a simpler experience. Eric, time is of the essence. She really needs this mobile dashboard. Can you help us figure out a way to reinterpret this desktop dashboard story in a way that's more simple?
I don't know, Zach. Let's see.
Let's see.
Let's get back to social media. First of all, I'm giving everybody who doesn't already have their phone in their hand permission to hold it for just a second while we're presenting. So imagine, again, you are scanning through Twitter or Instagram or something. How do you navigate?
If you're holding your phone.
You're holding your phone. Possibly, if you're like me, you scroll with your thumb. But possibly
people
with one
do it
finger.
this way,
Some
right?
people do it with it's a two-hand or a one-hand, but if you got a cup of coffee in your hand, you're probably doing it with one thumb. That's kind of the essence of what you want to think about as you're designing for mobile. Let's take a look at a couple of quick rules about this. So again, think vertically. Put the most important thing right up where the end user can actually consume it easily. Put anything that needs to be, that's going to serve as a filter close to where they can reach it. And be reductionist about this, right? Get rid of all of the things that aren't important and stick with what is. So, want to see something? Let's go here for a moment. So, just to reset, my boss, Kelly, VP of Sales, has noticed that we have this huge spike in sales, and yet profits are remaining flat. So she's actually going to embark on sort of an emergency tour of our sales regions and try and investigate with the local district managers what the heck is going on and how we can fix it. So what I need to do as the dashboard owner is to find a way to put this there on her phone quickly. She's leaving tomorrow, by the way. So we've got a few people who've seen the device designer, who've used the device layouts, right? For those of you who haven't, it's simple to enable right here. It opens up a little toolbar right up at the top. And these device layouts are simply a way to sort of help you understand how your dashboard's going to look and to lay it out specifically for a particular device. Now, I know we want a phone, and I know that Kelly's actually got a fairly large format iPhone, so I'm going to go with an iPhone 7 Plus. And again, we got to think about the rules, right? So it's vertical, things within reach, and all of that. Let's just go ahead and add a layout.
Boom. Oh my gosh.
That's pretty good.
What did that do, Eric?
It actually automatically lays out your dashboard in a columnar format without any intervention from a human. This is coming in 2019.1, which, as you heard earlier today, is coming in beta next week? This week? Tomorrow? I heard a date.
You can get it today.
So, pretty cool. Now, I also remember, though, that Kelly wanted a little bit of extra information about products. I've actually built the worksheet already, but I haven't put it in the dashboard yet. And I know I need to get it to her, so I'm just going to drop it in here without spending too much time on the desktop layout. And if we pop back over to the mobile layout, it's right there. Now, I want to make just a couple of other changes. So we'll go ahead and edit this layout. KPIs aren't terribly important right now. I want these filters to land here. Actually, I know that she doesn't really need that at the moment. I know she is interested in the map, so we'll leave that where it is. And we'll drag, oops, there's the undo button. Favorite feature for everybody in Tableau. We'll pull that down and just make a couple of tweaks right there. We'll pull that down. There we go. So front and center, pretty good so far. So now if you imagine Kelly with her phone being able to select on a region and drill in and really investigate what's going on. So let's see what that looks like in mobile. Pop this up.
Are those your kids?
They are my kids.
Phones are so personal.
They're nice most days. So I'll pop this up, and here we are. We've got this phone. We've got the dashboard. We can certainly zoom into maybe the East region and take a look at what performance is going there. And you actually see a nice little spike in profit there, so maybe they're not the problem. But I want to make you aware of another thing that's actually recently been introduced into Tableau Mobile, and that is what we call enhanced gesture mode. This can be turned on in the settings on your phone. Amazon's texting me, apparently. Don't know why. So a couple of things about enhanced gesture mode. We can actually simulate a hover action so that you can get a tooltip. You give it just a second.
So you're just tapping and holding?
I'm just tapping and holding and moving my finger across the viz. And then when I release, it actually makes a selection. Makes it much easier to drill into a fairly dense view and pick just the mark you're looking for. In addition to that, let's zoom all the way back out. So with maps, you can actually now use a two-finger gesture to zoom in and maybe see what's going on in Wyoming. Again, you can select in with that. Nice little filter action. And finally, for those of you who've built mobile dashboards before, have you ever had trouble scrolling on a phone? You hit you're scrolling the dashboard and then you hit a scrolling zone. Let's pop out of selection mode. Come on. Hello.
Sometimes people talk to me about this as the scroll this, not that problem. Like you're scrolling through the dashboard, and then your finger gets stuck, and then you have to put some white space on the side of the dashboard.
Exactly. So now, when you get to a scrolling zone, you can actually use a two-finger gesture and move around there. One finger scrolls the whole dashboard. A really nice way to make a simple but rich experience for your end users. So, just to quickly recap, first of all, new automatic layouts are going to be a phenomenal thing, a big, big help toward getting your mobile journey started. Enhanced gestures, again, something for end users to really make it easier to navigate dashboards. A quick little side bit of advice. For those of you, we're all dashboard builders in here of some sort. Iterate on these things. This phone is probably sitting next to you at your desk, right? Publish, test it on your phone, make changes. It's a really nice, easy way to iterate on this. And another quick tip about navigating from a mobile device, favorites are a really big time saver for navigating and finding the important information that people need. You can set favorites, of course, from the mobile device or your browser, but for any devs in here? People who like to write scripts? Okay. For you, there's actually an API that'll allow you to push out favorites to anybody in your organization, if you so desire.
People ask me about that all the time. How can I get my executives these 5 dashboards? This is how you can do it today. And in the future, we may do even more. Thank you. Cool. That was easy.
It was crazy easy.
I was very surprised. And the new capabilities coming in 19.1 are really going to speed up dashboard creation. Those phone layouts are going to come by default on all dashboards. When you create a new dashboard in 19.1, it'll just be there. And you add stuff to that default dashboard, it just shows up in the phone like magic. Boom. That was nice. But we're all rock stars, right? What can I do if I want to make this thing rock? Ah! Oh, TC. So we are about to enter and embark upon a process, the process of design. So in order to build something that is really useful for people, I find I often need to reflect deeply to understand what problem I'm trying to solve, and it's not always clear up front what problem I need to spend my time on. So what often happens with me is that I'll start down a specific path, and then I'll realize, oh, I thought this was going to be it, but we really need to go another direction. Does this ever happen to you? Yes? Anybody? A few people? Yes. Polly, totally happens to him.
Yeah.
So design is a process. It takes time, it takes patience, and it takes a mindset. But if you're in the state of mind, in order to create something new, and you give yourself the space to explore your data and to figure out exactly what story you want to tell, you can do this. It's an iterative process. Things get better as you go, and eventually you will get to a design. how much is enough? Well, in the context of a desktop dashboard, the answer is all the data, right? Like, I want all the data on my desktop dashboard. In a phone, maybe enough is a smaller number. As the Stones so forward-thinkingly said, you can't always get what you want into a phone dashboard, but sometimes you can get what you need.
That was parenthetical.
So Amy Alberts from our own design team at Tableau, also worked with her on Windows Phone at Microsoft, longtime industry expert around mobile design, and she does a lot of research with people to figure out what it is that draws people to phones and like how they use their phones, and even sits with people throughout their lives and their day to understand like what is it that makes a phone useful to them. And her advice about all design, and this is not limited only to phones, is first, design with intent. I really love that Eric started with the story of Kelly. He didn't start with, this is sales data. He started with Kelly. That's the intent. We have to help Kelly. Then, as he went through the process, he sort of reflected on some of the things that were going on in the design. He's like, well, I don't know if we need this, I don't know if we need that. Made some changes, stayed open and flexible. And third, there are some things people already know how to do, some muscle memories. They scroll with their thumbs. They know how to do that. They tap on stuff. That's like, those are like fast forwards for you. You can shortcut by reusing those concepts. Anybody know what this is? Guess? Oh, Photoshop. Yes, it does. It says it up there, I think, in the, so maybe not like a big reveal. Yes, this is Photoshop. Photoshop is an incredible tool for deep thinking. Look at how beautiful the media is that you can make with Photoshop. It's got tool palettes, and it's got layers, and I grew up on Photoshop. It was my first introduction to graphics, and I just thought, wow, what a great tool. I would spend hours digging around in there producing these beautiful, beautiful graphics. What does that remind you of? Dashboards. Reminds me a bit of Tableau Desktop. Yeah. Here's another photo editing tool. Are you all familiar with this one?
I see nods.
Yeah, some nods. What is this? Yep, hashtag Grammit. So Instagram also lets you edit photos. I mean, right? But it's quick. It's quick and it's easy. Filters. There are filters in Photoshop. What do you do with Instagram? Instagram is a sharing tool. So you can't do all of that deep photo editing. It's not that experience in the context of mobile. You all said it. People are trying to communicate. That's what they want to do. So that's where Instagram is focused. As we reflect on our own design and where we want to go with mobile, some things to keep in mind, questions to ask yourself. In order to understand the intent deeply, who am I helping? It's Kelly. I already figured that out. What does she need? What does she need? And why? Why does she need that? And the context around that why. This is where I see a lot of people get like hung up or stumble. What is the underlying why? She's going to come up with related questions. As we know, it's Tableau, it's data, it's interactive. We want people to be able to ask and answer those questions. And then, as a result, she will probably need to do something in her workflow. Call somebody, text somebody, do something. So another approach, here's a second approach you can use. We talked about reductionism. You can use what's called a mobile-first design. Instagram did this. It was available on phones before it was available on the web. If you build your dashboard first designed for a phone, much easier to scale that up to a desktop. Eric, if
Yes.
we wanted to build a dashboard designed first for a phone, how might we go about that?
I'm so glad you asked. you know, it's interesting to be able to build a giant dashboard with a bunch of things on, but I love the economy of thinking that goes with this. By the way, if you download this deck later, you'll find these yellow cards. These are intended as sort of quick do and don't, kind of quick tip cards, and there's several of them scattered throughout the deck. So use those as reference as you come by, as you look through. So, a couple of things to think about in mobile design in general. Keep it simple, like Instagram. Make your point clear. That's putting the big things up top. Progressive disclosure is really, really powerful. We'll see an example of that a little later. But it could be something as simple as selecting a mark on a tooltip. And there are other things you can do with that, especially around filter actions. Test, test, and test. The dashboards that you'll see during today I've been working on these things for months, and there have probably been, 4 or 5 dozen different versions of these things. Test it, see how they work, move on. This is a very condensed version of that. A couple of things to avoid are crosstabs, anything that's really visually complex, high mark counts, that sort of thing. Oh, and one thing that will most assuredly break is that if you're using a URL action to navigate you from one dashboard in the mobile app to somewhere else, that will break. So don't do that. Now, about mobile views in particular, the individual vizzes that are going to make up our dashboards. First of all, size to things that people can touch. That's mostly what you want to do. You also saw that I broke that rule in that first one. That was a quick and dirty version. But high mark counts can actually, there's an algorithm within Tableau that will actually take the number of marks along with a few other things about how complex it is to compute and render the view on your phone. And if it gets beyond a threshold, we will do server-side rendering. That has 2 implications. The first is that it's slow. Not a good experience on mobile where everything should be as fast as possible. Secondly, though, it will impact your ability to have offline data. So keep that one in mind in particular. A couple of other things around the UX in general. Try to clean it up. Hide axes when you can. Hide labels where you can. Use other means to enhance the analytics without getting in the way of without overcrowding the view. And a little bit contrarian is actually bump up your font size a little bit. Go to 12 point, make it a nice lightweight font. Tableau Book, which is the default for Tableau, is a really nice font for mobile. And again, limit the use of mark labels. So, let's dive into a new analytic task.
Let's do a demo. I'm excited. Who likes demos? I like the demos.
I like doing demos. So, the analytic task this time is to build a mobile dashboard for a category manager. This guy is on the road 3 out of 4 months, or 3 out of 4 weeks per month. He's traveling to different regions. He needs to understand his product mix by quantity at a high level. He needs to see the trends in sales per region. And he wants to know what his most and least profitable products are within those regions. So we need to design something that is both clean and simple to just kind of get it when he looks at it, but also to be interactive and concise. So the first question was around product mix. So let's just do this, shall we?
Oh my gosh, he just manually built a tree map. Who is this guy?
Tree maps are awesome, right? And if you think about it, especially with just very few members in the dimension, this actually turns into a really nice analytic, but also very finger-friendly viz. Let's add a little bit of extra context with this. We'll throw percent of total, and yes, that is a table calculation that I pre-built. That's pretty good right there. So if you imagine hovering over this and just getting that information using enhanced gesture mode, let's bump this up to 12 point. It's not bad. Okay, second question was sales by region, right? So let's look at that. Double click. Anybody know this trick?
What were you doing?
That was on a Mac, it's Option Command drag. It's a right click drag on Windows, I think. I haven't used Windows in a while. So let's do this. We'll go ahead and I know that he needs to see this at the week grain. And we want region, which is down here. Let's throw that on color. That's a spaghetti chart.
Oh, it looks like highlighters.
I love that. And, okay, so that's clean. I want to allow him to see a little bit more of the movement within the regions, because you can see that 30,000 in sales, that's this spike, but some of the other regions don't get anywhere near that. So first thing I'll do is make this an independent axis range. Okay, not bad. Now, I want to be able to still, within that, give a sense for the highs and lows. And I could just throw out mark labels on the min and max or something like that. But that doesn't add much analytic value, and it's, again, going to clutter this a little. So instead, I'll use a reference line right there. We'll make it the value. Now, I need to clean this up just a bit with some formatting. First of all, let's make it single decimal. We'll show the unit in thousands, a little cleaner. And let's actually, well, let's not bother with that right now. Okay, so now watch what happens as I select a mark. Oh, there's a problem there. Did you notice that the label is off the screen when I select the top mark? Let's fix that too. So if we do an alignment, bottom, still visible, but now we can see it there. Cool?
Cool.
Now, finally,
I thought it was cool.
I think it's pretty sweet. So let's make these lines nice and thin to just give a little more white space when we see it on that small screen. And now, let's hide that. Anybody use rotate mark labels on a regular basis? It's pretty sweet, right? And dead simple to use. Okay.
It's a good space saver.
Yeah. So, I just did the wrong viz in the wrong one. Let's back up one here. We'll just redo it with this. It'll be a little out of order, but that's okay. So now the final question was products by profit. Let's do that. And product name. Add all members.
Oh, that's a lot of products.
Okay, so even if I sort it, that's really dense. Let's clean that up with a combined set to show me just my top and bottom 10.
What was that magic?
See me afterwards. Anybody use sets? Sets? Yeah. Combined sets? Wait till tomorrow. Let's add a little more context. That's not bad, but I still see, if I'm sort of imagining what this is going to look like on a phone, that's wide, right? I want to conserve as much space as possible. So I'm going to cheat by making the bars all point the same direction. And again, I mentioned my degrees in English, but I did pay attention in middle school math, and I know what an absolute value is. All the bars are pointing that way. I could come in here, clean up the tooltip just a bit. And now I actually get the profit, or the lack of profit in this case. One more little space saver, though. Think about putting a label on top of the mark, setting it to left justify, maybe dialing down the transparency a bit, maybe a little up from there. Not bad. And then, let's hide that.
Yeah.
Not bad, right? I mean, this is clean. So you can see exactly what the bars are. You can see what's good and what's bad at a glance, which is really what we're after with Tableau anyway. Let's also make this just a little more finger-friendly. We'll slide that down. There we go. Do you think most of us can hit that with your fingers? Cool. Okay. Let's come back over to, there we go. Now let's talk a little bit about, now that we've got some really good raw material, let's talk about how we might go laying this out in our dashboards. So just to reiterate, design vertically, design for thumb scrolling in particular, progressive disclosure, where you're not showing, you'll show something when somebody asks for it. So it's, again, simple as a tooltip, or showing a different viz when you've selected it using filter actions. Parameters, filters, and legends are kind of bugaboos on mobile devices. They take up a lot of space. They don't necessarily add any analytic value, especially parameters. There's no analytic value to those at all. Sorry. So use those sparingly. There are times when you'll need them, but use them sparingly. Select the design for portrait, but don't forget to at least rotate your phone once in a while to see what's going on.
It's funny how frequently I see people forget to just test it on the device.
Yeah, it's amazing. One of the other things, this is something that'll actually be fixed in the new version fixed in the future in any case, is that if you show sheets as tabs, that breaks the mobile view. So if you pull up your phone or you pull up a dashboard on your mobile device and it shows like a little miniature version of your desktop, that's what happened. So go back, republish with unchecking show sheets as tabs. So let's put these together. Let's go here. Now, fortunately, even though I put those on the wrong sheets, we have this handy little highlighter, right? So right now, I'm not terribly concerned with how this lays out on desktop, but I do know that I want it to be top to bottom, and that's all right, but what I really want to do is get another phone. And I know our category manager, again, carries a nice large format iPhone, so we'll start with that. Edit this. I'm taking full control of this right here. Now, if you remember, the initial analytic task was that he wants the proportions by category, but he also wants to be able to filter by it. So we've got that up top here. Just do a quick little bit of cleanup. Let's stretch this out a bit for the moment. So what would I want to do here if I wanted to enable this category manager to filter by category? Filter actions. I think I heard somebody say that out there. So note that you actually have to come back to the default in order to set these. We'll go ahead and set that. That kind of works. I think you'll also want to do by region, and we can actually enable that right here. So now if you imagine we're filtering. Now, a couple of problems that you might notice. One is that the products by profit is pretty small. Set this to fit. Entire view. That's one of those ways to just kind of blow this up. Now, bear in mind that if you set this for one phone and not another, check it on every phone that you're going to use to make sure that things like the labels actually show up and rotate, because we will resize that automatically. Pull that down. Let's get ourselves a little more real estate. Oop, I'm clicking the wrong direction. There we go. Tall. Okay. Make that fit. Fit width, fit height, things like that. Those are actually very useful here as well. So we've got that. Now let's test it really quick here. Okay, that doesn't look like top and bottom 10. Does anybody know what's going on there? I got a filter. I'll shortcut this for you. Bear in mind, oh, hold on. I got to reset those. What we want to do is cause this top filter to happen after the other two filters happen. Oh, let's do over here. That's what we want. So what we want is to add those two action filters to context. And now we've got our top 10 within whatever our category manager sets. Make sense? Again, come talk to me afterwards. That's not bad, though, right?
Yeah. Now we can see all the data.
Look at that. Might also do things like hiding the titles, because we know that that's a trend, right? Top volume categories, let's hide that. Might add a title, things like that. But let's go ahead and take a look at this on mobile and just see how it ends up as a finished product. So we'll load that. Filter, filter, scroll.
That's
pretty good.
fabulous. Well done, Eric. That was a lot of demo.
That's a lot of demo.
That was a lot of Tableau to do all at once. All right. So, I mean, now you're a Jedi of mobile design, right? Like, confidence is high. Like, we can do this. This is going to be great. I'm going back to the office. I'm going to do a whole bunch of, wait. He practiced a long time to get that done. I wonder if there's a way that we could make this a little bit more efficient. 2 strategies to help you be more effective with your time. First, be efficient. This seems obvious. Yes, everybody should be efficient. But what does it mean? It means choose your battles. So in this case, Eric spent very little time on one use case and a whole lot of time on another use case. Maybe there's a way that we could find a middle ground as well and give you a third tool. Second, how can you grow allies? How can you be a source of information in the organization, not the only source? So there must be a balance. We did this, hey, I've got this desktop thing and I want to reduce it down. We did this, I'm going to design for phones and look at all the time it took me to build those visas. What if there is something in the middle? An easier way, Eric, is there a way to bring balance to this mobile dashboard design?
I think so. Shall we have a quick look?
Let's do.
This is, okay, so let's actually, first of all, let's talk, the idea of a single kind of unified layout that just works wherever the heck you put it. It's not really as hard as you might think. It's just a matter of considering considering how it's going to look and just making a few quick tweaks. Now, I have already built something, and this is actually a pretty cool dashboard. It's designed for a merchandiser who might spend, half of their day at their desk looking at looking at a browser, Tableau server. You've got this viz published that allows you to, drill in, see what's going on, both at that really high level, but also to be able to see the category mix and how it breaks down to orders. So I can, for instance, do a multi-select and actually see at the order level what products are shipping with what other products. But I don't spend all of my day at a desk.
No.
I spend a good chunk of it wandering around. At that point, I've got an iPad. And I might be looking at that while I'm out walking the store.
Okay.
And even further than that, I might actually go out and meet with vendors, at which point I probably only have my phone. So with just a couple of quick tweaks, we can actually make this work nicely. Now, who uses automatic sizing?
Yeah,
Okay.
right? It works great
Almost
on
everybody.
desktops.
That's like, and that's kind of, so that's a little, that's kind of the basis of this, but we're going to take a little finer control with this. We're going to give it a range. I don't care how big this thing gets. I mean, we could scale it out to a screen this size, if you imagine sort of a war room. Anybody work with like war room type dashboards? Yeah.
Yes.
There you go. Fraud monitoring, that kind of thing. That's all good stuff. I do want to kind of give this the kind of a lower bound on that. So I'm going to think all the way down to maybe a phone size. So we'll just go like 400 pixels wide by maybe 1,300 or so in height. And that's all you have to do. Let's see how it looks, though, in real life. So if you imagine that I've come out to my browser, and here it is, right? So I'm sitting at my desk, and this is my dashboard. You've just seen this. Now I'm going to the sales floor, though. And I've got my iPad.
How is that going to look on an iPad?
About like that. So we've rescaled. But, we all pretty much hold our phones like this unless we're watching Netflix. iPads are a little bit more turny, I suppose.
Yes.
So if you imagine I turned it to portrait mode, it snaps in for that as well. And all of that interactivity is still there. But finally, If I'm out on the road and I size this down to a phone, it's there. The most important information is right up top, but it has all of the interactivity that we all built in. Train the user once, and they're good to go. Pretty good, right?
Yes, I like that one the best.
Actually, after all of the development we did, that's the one I ended up liking the best. I think that's really, really cool.
So that's what we call universal design. Design that works in the context of any kind of a device. And it's not appropriate to every use case. But this category management use case where you're walking the floor sometimes you're at your desk, I mean, it's really nice that you can target something that's going to work in all these different ways. One of the things that I really liked about that is that it's kind of this page architecture, which is a lot like the web. And people understand that already. So we're reusing that context that they're familiar with.
Right.
In the interest of, have folks seen share and annotate before? Have you seen this? No? Nobody's seen this? We should show people
We should
share
totally
and
show
annotate.
this. Let's show a couple of things, though, because frankly, mobile users should not be left out in the cold when it comes to the conversation and to things like alerts and certainly subscriptions, that sort of thing. How many people use subscriptions or alerts on a regular basis here? It's a good chunk.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, if you imagine being out in the field and not being able to get those, you see something that's important, you want to be able to do something with it, right? So let's go this way. There we go. Okay, I'm going to pop up. So imagine you're in an email client. You get an alert. The absolute value of the sum of profit was above or equal to 16,000.
Uh-huh.
If I select into that, bounce through, depends on how long I've been signed in.
Oh.
Oh.
But look at that banner at
Look
the
at this.
top.
But look at the banner at the top. Oh, I killed the banner. There it is. I've clicked right through. I'm actually in my viz, and I can interact with it just like we were just doing.
That's incredible.
So, of course, you can set alerts and set subscriptions right from the phone. And, of course, you can participate in the conversation about this viz. So, I love autocorrect. Makes me look like I'm a better typist on my thumbs than I am. So there, we can continue with this conversation, you know, a really nice in the flow sort of thing. But sharing and annotating is something that you can only do from mobile. You cannot do without multiple tools.
This is a great
In
feature.
desktop.
I love this one. It's one of my favorites.
Dig this. So I've got this. And I'm going to go all Jeff Bezos on people and just like circle that and go get a big old question mark. And then I will share this. You know who I'm going to share it with, right?
Yeah, Bezos.
Yeah, I'm going to share it with you.
Sent.
So what's cool about that?
Is I got a TC18 notification. Oh, I
There
just
it is.
got it.
So
Buzz, buzz.
what happens when you get it?
What happens is I have to unlock my phone and go and look at my notifications, and then I can tap through to the mobile app.
You can tap
Excellent.
you can tap all the way through to the mobile app.
Excellent.
That is really, really sweet. I'd almost pick up my phone to do that, even if I'm sitting at my desk.
Yeah.
Just so that I could do that.
Yeah, who doesn't want convenience?
Exactly.
So that's great. Those are some tools that exist in the product that make it a little bit easier for you to share your work out. But Eric, I wonder, after we demo, what we could do in our organization to help the mindset evolve.
You know, it's a great question, and I work with tons of really large customers and small customers, and that's always the thing, is how do we get this out, how do we make it part of our practice? And I think the simple answer, the answer is fairly simple. It's just to start doing it. Take some of your existing dashboards and just play around with it. See if you can build something mobile. And then try to do that with new dashboards as they come up and really practice with this sort of thing. Beyond that, Start to find like-minded people in your organization, other people who are dashboard creators. And get with them, maybe do Makeover Mobile Monday or something like that. Any Makeover Monday people here? Couple.
Yes? Oh, thank you for your
Yes.
contribution to the community.
Makeover Monday is an amazing thing. That's my Sunday morning over coffee thing. But finally, it's kind of ends up being marketing, right? Go out and talk to the people who would consume your dashboards, show them what you've done, teach them a little bit about enhanced gesture mode so that they actually understand what they can do, and get their feedback, take it with you back to your desk, and work on the craft of building mobile dashboards. It's a really, really powerful thing. Now, we've crammed a ton of stuff into this talk. Originally clocked in at like a minute 10 or an hour 10 or something like that. I think we squished it down. But Zach, are there things that we can send these people out in the world with?
There
just
are
with some
some
general
things.
thoughts?
Yeah, we're going to send you away with a few things, some resources that you can follow up on. Here's some recommended reading, some of the things that we've been reading. There are sort of two categories here, the things in and around design, which the design of everyday things, have people read that? No? I would call that fundamental. Like if you're interested in the way things are designed and built, that's a really good read. A couple of really great sort of Tableau specific and dashboarding books that one that launched this year, the Makeover Monday book, and Big Book of Dashboards from last year. There's some cool resources on Amy's blog around what people actually see when they look at a screen of data. And you can see this like hot spotting, which is really fascinating. And there's a reflection on Medium from a mobile designer who has kind of observed this trend he calls complexion reduction, which is really simplifying and reducing all the way down to the color level to really just like focus on the bare elements of what's necessary to get understanding through. On the right, I've got a couple of creative culture references. These are great books. One of them is the story of Pixar and how they go about things in their organization in order to promote creativity. And the other is a story of how Hallmark Cards regained their creative culture after they lost it as a result of corporate optimization. If you'd like to, you can scan this QR code. This will get you to Eric's public page, which has got all the samples that you just looked at. And as a bonus, you get this New Orleans Jazz Viz, which has a whole bunch of jazz between now and Saturday that you can go see in the evening. And people are still taking pictures. They're still taking pictures. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait. Okay. All right, I'm moving on. So our journey has come to an end. A few things we talked about today. Step one, Tableau has a lot of great capabilities that are going to help you to create mobile experiences quickly. Step two, you now have the power to create amazing mobile dashboards. And these three approaches can help you reductive, mobile first, and universal design. And finally, you know what you need to do to enable this culture of design and this ethos, this thoughtful ethos in your organization. Eric and I are going to stand up here. We'll be available for questions. And please do complete the survey. Apparently, this is the wrong picture. I was told in email, but we did not update the slide. Your survey is in your TC app. It's on the left-hand side if you go to the nav. There are a bunch of other mobile sessions that you can go to. This one is being repeated if there was a colleague that didn't get to come that you would like to send. And then we have a number of other sessions. Mobile App Bootstrap is kind of a developer-focused session about building custom applications. Mobile Rising, I recommend. We are launching an entirely new Tableau Mobile this year, and in that session, they're going to take you through all the details of the app. On the road again, Deploy and Enjoy are two kind of classic sessions that were popular last year that we've brought back. Those are also great to attend. So thank you very much. Thank you for caring about mobile.
Thanks, guys.